You can get started, Dara.
All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. Thank you so very much for entertaining us this evening and joining in for this powerful information. My name is Dara Campbell, and very quickly, before anything else, I'd like for you to just go through a little housekeeping notes, just to be aware this call is being monitored and recorded. I'm sorry. So I want you to be aware of that. I'm getting an echo. As long as nobody else is getting it, it's fine. And then also just be aware of your camera settings. If you'd like to share your camera, that's perfectly fine. If you do not want to, it's not required. But just want you to be aware of what your camera's doing. You know, if you're in the bed, half dressed, we don't need to be shared that. Okay. So that's all. Again, my name is Dara Campbell, and I have the pleasure of explaining to you one of our products that my company gets to share with the world. It's revolutionary, it's innovative, and it is life changing. You are here because I value you, and I know that this product can help you in more ways than one for some of us. But I just want to make sure that you have access to this information. It's definitely going to change your life for the better. Most of you have already received a gift of patches from me to try, and you may have questions, and that's what we're here to do this evening is to answer them. If you haven't already received patches from me, you can hit me up after this because I know you're going to want some. And to introduce, we do have two guests with us. I have the opportunity to present this information to you because of a wonderful gentleman that, reached out to me. We go way back. And he said that this is a game changer and that he had to have me on his team. And so his name is Mr. Emerson Gibson, and he's going to be speaking with you shortly. But also, we are privileged to have one of the directors of the LifeWave company. Well, he's actually absolutely on his way to senior director. So, but his name is Derek Hawkins, and he has agreed to host us this evening. So, Mr. Hawkins, thank you so very much for taking time out of your schedule this evening to do this with us. He is going to give us the ins and outs, the who, what, when, where, and why. I've always been an honor student, but science is that one class that I had to study really hard in. So he is going to give us exactly what this is, what it is, how it works, and how it is beneficial for you. So without further ado, I am going to turn over to Derek Hawkins, and please welcome him.
Thank you very much, Dara, for that tremendous introduction. I appreciate that. I want to thank all the guests who've taken out the time to support her in her goal. Our goal, and we're on a mission. In fact, our goal is to eradicate bad health and bad debt in our communities, and we have found the golden goose to do that. We want to remind everyone, if you are a guest and if you don't mind, in the chat at some point during this presentation, please just put in your name and who invited you. For example, if your name is Anthony, so my name is Anthony, invited by Dara. Because sometimes we can't tell who on the call. A lot of people have their phone number shown. Some people log in, it just says iPhone, but we want to be able to identify you. We also want to thank you. And again, the best way for us to do that is for you to leave your information. So again, as Dara said, my name is Derek Hawkins. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, I think it's important that you know a little bit about who you're hearing from. My name is Dara Campbell. As she said, I'm a man of faith, humility, and integrity. I'm a husband, father, grandfather. I'm a deacon and a men's ministry leader at my house of worship. I'm also a retired engineer and project manager where I've worked for 36 and a half years for the largest transportation agency in the Northeast. I retired with six-figure income, so had a nice run while working there. I'm also a Division I college basketball player, played basketball up until I was about 61 when I injured myself, still trying to play, but I did play at a high level. I've always been an entrepreneur, even when I had a job. I'm an Ivy League graduate. I'm also a health and wellness advocate. I'm a match flow leader, certified team member. I'm also author, speaker, coach. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. For those of you who know Toastmasters, it's an organization where you learn how to improve both your leadership and your communication skills. I did that because I was very shy and the least likely to speak in front of an audience of this size when I was younger. I'm also an honorary, my wife and I both received an honorary doctorate in humanitarianism because we are committed to doing things in our community. And we both earned them individually, but again, we both are big about serving our community and being an asset in our communities. I was featured recently in Black News Media for leadership for my faith, family, and leadership. I'm also a Lifeway brand partner, as she said, and I'm going to be conducting this ride for you this afternoon. So thank you for your time, and let's go ahead and get right into the presentation. And as Dara said earlier, have you been patched yet? And many of you have received a patch already. Maybe you just start using it. But why is that important, and why should you be interested in the patch? Because again, this patch actually elevates, activates, and regenerates what we call our stem cells, and that's important to know. Again, our stem cells again are the healing mechanism in our body. And again, that is why she asked that question. And by the time we're finished with this presentation, you're going to want to either have the patch or you want to share it. If you care about people that you know and love in your family that are dealing with ailments, that are medications, that are subject to all the challenges that we have in life, you will want to share these patches with them. We are under attack by land, air, and sea. And what do I mean by that? The quality of the water that we drink today is not the same. The land, the food that we eat is over farmed. A lot of times we have GMO, genetically modified foods. You can't find food to season anymore. I have trouble finding seeds with foods with seasoning. And also the air, the quality of the air is changing dramatically. You see all the fires that's happening in California and in Canada. It was so bad here in Northeast corridor where I live that last year and 2 years ago, we were warned to stay indoors because the quality of the air was just not was healthy. And so again, these are the stress that we deal in life, and the reason I'm sharing it with you because all of you and all of us have people in our lives that are dealing with challenges, not only the stresses of the quality of the air, the water, and the food, but how about the stresses of life? How about working? If you have a job where you have to drive and travel to or commute, some of you maybe an hour, 2 hours to get to work. You work at a job where you don't respect your boss. You're probably smarter than your boss. They don't respect you. You're not paid what you're worth. You have to be, it's almost like being in prison where you have to get furloughed to go to lunch. You have to tell you when to take vacation. You might as well be in prison. Only difference is you're getting paid. And most people, if you work for a living, most companies will pay you just enough money so you don't quit. And most people work just hard enough so they don't get fired. So we have an opportunity to increase your wealth. When I talk about your wealth, I'm talking about your health because your health is your wealth. If you had a choice to have $1 million or to have better health, what if you had $1 million but you're on medication? You're subject to surgery all the time. You're always sick. You're going back and forth to the doctors constantly. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have your health? Well, what if you had an opportunity to have both your physical wealth as well as your financial wealth? Well, we have an opportunity to share that, and we have the solution for you. So let me get right into the presentation and why you should want to be patched. And if somebody look like they're using their screen, if you have a touch screen, please avoid writing on the screen because it's going to interfere with the streaming. This call is being recorded. Again, why do you need to be patched? Because by the time you turn 30, half your stem cells are inactive, and by the time you turn 60, nearly all of our stem cells are inactive. Why is that important? Because the stem cells make up the tissues, the organs in our system, in our bodies. They are the body's intended repair system. That is why when you're young, I can remember as a young child when I broke my arm, I was in a soft cast for maybe a week or two, and I was after the injury, I was back out doing the same thing that I did before. It's almost like new. If I had a bruise or a cut or scar, I noticed that it would go away completely. That's because when you're young, you have active stem cells. Now, I never knew this. My doctors never told me this. Nobody in the medical field shared it with me. In fact, a lot of our partners are doctors, and they didn't even know that. So let me tell you why that's important. The less active stem cells you have, the slower we heal, the faster we feel the effects of aging. That is why, again, when you get a cut, if I were to break my arm now, it probably wouldn't heal completely. It would be a permanent, it would be a permanent injury. And that is why you see so many of our family members and friends walking around with canes, walkers, wheelchairs. Some of my friends look really cool when they walked up the street, and they're not doing that because they're trying to be cool. They're doing that because they have to overcompensate for a bad leg, a bad hip, an injury. So they have to walk with a certain limp or a certain way. Again, that's typical. How about the people that we know who are in their 30s, but they look like they're in their 50s and 60s? How about people who in their 60s and 70s that look like they're in their youth? That is because those individuals are taking care of themselves. But again, we are subject to all of these challenges. Our stem cells are dormant. However, we have a solution, means that people are feeling experience of the aging effects. And again, we have the solution. Now, we call it X39 because, again, this technology, which I'm going to share with you briefly, is a great technology. It is a proprietary form of phototherapy. Phototherapy is not new. Phototherapy is used by dermatologists to heal people. If you go to a dermatologist, some of them, some will have a light machine, black light, blue light, different color lights, and they use that as short bursts of light to heal your body. Even if you go back to ancient times, they use different color light and different color glass to heal people. You know, they create a different effect. And I can remember as a child, I had a magnifying glass. And I would go in the park and I would take the magnifying glass and I would capture the harness the power of the sun. I could literally create a beam and I could burn a hole through a leaf. That is the power of light and phototherapy. Now it's a patented nanocrystal technology. Patent simply means there is a patent on this product. Again, you cannot get a patent for something if it doesn't work. Nano simply means small, and crystals again means organic plants, organic salts and sugars. In this technology, it is non-transdermal, which means it does not penetrate the skin. It does, and what it does, it reflects light to activate something in the body called a copper peptide. In particular, the copper peptide is called GHKCU. So if you're the kind of person that wants detailed information, you can look up copper peptide, particularly GHKCU. And the way it works is the same way that we get vitamin D. Unfortunately, we don't get vitamin D from the sun, as some people believe. The way we get vitamin D is certain wavelengths of light, infrared light. When it hits our body, it activates something in the body called it activates, I'm sorry, the vitamin D in your body, and that is how you get vitamin D. God has given us a body to heal itself. So what this patch does, it reflects light back inward into our bodies. And again, the way it reflects light is it's like a mirror. And if you think about it, we are light beings. In fact, that is why somebody that is wearing night vision goggles can see someone a mile away because our body radiates heat and energy in the form of light. We are light beings. So what the patch does, much like the sun, it reflects light back inward at a certain, just the right frequency. After 38 trials of trying to figure this out, on trial 39, that is when our inventor created what's called X39 because it absolutely works. As I said before, you cannot get a patent for something if it doesn't do what it says it does. The thing I love most about it, there's no drugs or chemicals involved, so we don't have to deal with the pharmaceutical cartels that give us drugs that sometimes work, sometimes they don't, and sometimes the side effects are even worse than the intended use. If you ever watch a commercial when they talk about some of these drugs, it's always very bright and happy and glee, and they're talking about this chemical that they're going to give you or this drug, and what the big print giveth, the small print taketh away. So if you read the small print, it might say, "Hey, this is good for your heart, is good for your health." However, there are side effects like a stroke. It could lead to death. You could lose a limb. I mean, some of these side effects are worse than the condition that you're dealing with. And sometimes when we get a drug, and some of you may have experienced this, you went to the doctor for something. Doctors, I have a lot of respect for them. They spend a majority of their teaching and learning and education on how to treat, not to prevent. So when you go to them and you tell them what you're dealing with, they'll recommend a lot of times a prescription, a drug. And sometimes, the doctors say, let's see if this works, and you start using it, it won't help. You get worse. Again, you have to take high doses. They keep recommending, and you go back to the doctor, say, "Hey, doc, this did not work. What should I do?" And the doctor may say, "Well, let's try something else." And I believe that is why they call it a medical practice, because again, sometimes they're not sure, and again, they spend most of their time to treat, not to prevent. Now, this product is 100% non-invasive. It does not penetrate the skin. And I have to mention, as a disclaimer, LifeWay products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Let's talk about the inventor. His name is David Schmidt. David Schmidt is the CEO and inventor of X39. He has over 130 patents. In fact, I have to update my slide constantly because he has over 200 patents now. He is nonstop in finding ways to heal and help people's health. He's not only a scientist and inventor, he specializes in age reversing technology. In fact, a majority of his patents are related to age reversing technology. This is not Dave's first rodeo. Over 21 years ago, he was hired by the U.S. government, and particularly the Navy SEALs, because they developed this new submarine, and they wanted the Navy SEALs to be able to stay alert for more than 36 hours at least without having that crash that you get from drinking an energy drink. They didn't want any drugs or chemicals. They offered side effects. And he developed his first energy pack. And he's been nonstop with trying to figure out how to continue to help and heal people. And in 2008, he focused his attention on stem cell research because stem cell research was the big the buzzword at the time. People would use getting stem cell injections. And there's a challenge with getting stem cell injections. First and foremost, It's a localized treatment that deals specifically designed, maybe to deal with pain. Again, there's no guarantee that it works. You have to get another shot generally within 6 months, and it's not cost effective. It could be anywhere from $5,000 to I heard as much as $50,000 for an injection. It is not covered by any medical insurance. And again, some people have to leave the country or go elsewhere because it is not always available in certain places. It's considered illegal. Now, that is the challenge. But David spent, again, 10 years and almost $4.5 million of his own money to bring X39 to market. And guess what? He actually did it. He actually combined what he called codes from the Bible, codes from mathematics, and codes from science, and he put it all together, and he created this tremendous what's called technology called X39. Here are some of the benefits of it. It is a wearable phototherapy that produces beneficial effects to the human body, such as activation of your stem cells, improvement in your strength, improvement in stamina, pain relief via a non-transdermal container, which is the patch that we showed you earlier. Now, this non-transdermal apparatus, it reflects or emits specific wavelengths of light, as I said earlier, to elevate the levels of copper peptide in the body. Now, again, this is not the first time that copper peptide was mentioned. Back in 1973, there was another scientist. His name was Laurent Picard. At the tender age of 5, he experienced his grandmother dying from cancer, and it so devastated him that he told his mother, he made a promise to her. He said, listen, I'm going to find a cure for cancer. Now, Laurent Picard did not find a cure for cancer, but what he did discover, he is the one who discovered the copper peptide. And what he learned is if you can figure out a way to activate your copper peptide, it will wake up those dormant stem cells. Now, he come from a family of ministers, in fact, 15 ministers in his family, and he always told them and said, listen, when you get to a roadblock and you're not sure what to do, and he experienced that when he was trying to figure out a cure for cancer, he prayed to God and asked him to give him a solution. And what he discovered was the copper peptide. Now, combine that with David Schmidt, 10 years of his life trying to figure out how to activate dormant stem cells. And he figures out and creates what's called X39. Now, some of you may say, you know what? That's ironic. It's irony that you have two men of faith who spend their life trying to figure out a cure to help people. One of them creates the copper peptide, the other one creates the X39. Now, some of you might say, you know what? That is definitely irony. But I say to you, that's not irony, that is destiny. I believe it was God delivered and God ordained that this happened, and we just happen to be the beneficiaries of this patented technology. Now, I'm going to show you a short video. It's about 1.5 hours long, so I hope you guys have time. Actually, I just said that I want to make sure you guys are paying attention. This video is about 1.5 minutes, and what it's going to do is it's going to explain to you how phototherapy works. It's going to explain to what I just went through and explain it, but it's going to be it's going to be visual. You can see it in about 90 seconds. And that's on the other side of the 90 seconds. I'm going to tell you how the patch works, how you can get hold of it, the benefits of wearing the patch. And we're going to have a couple of testimonies from people who have experience in using the patch and how it's helping a lot of people. So sit tight for about 90 seconds. I'm going to see you on the other side of the video.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light that can promote a general state of health and healthy activity unique to each LifeWave patch. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared energy emitted from the body is reflected back into the body and then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy. LifeWave phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative energy and enhances your ability to live well without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals. To find out more, contact your distributor. LifeWave, live long, live well.
All right, I hope that video helped explain how the patch works. And again, just to summarize what they said, again, this patch, again, it's about the size of a quarter. It's called X39. And the way it works, it basically reflects light back into the body at a certain frequency, infrared light. And what that does, it wakes up those, it activates the copper peptides. And as we learned from Lauren Picard back in 1973, if you can figure out a way to activate your copper peptides, you will reactivate and wake those dormant stem cells. And what happens? You start to get increase in your strength. It reduces inflammation. We all can use that. Energy and vitality increases. You increase your stamina. Your mental clarity improves. In fact, I'm going to show you scientific proof. I'm going to show you a brain scan of a 77-year-old woman who had major migraine headaches for years and how that cleared up using the patch. It restored muscle and skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep, improvement of skin appearance. And again, I experienced, the longer I wear the patch, the more I experience these things that you see, and there's a lot more that you experience as well. So again, there are tremendous benefits of wearing a patch. Here is the topography of the 77-year-old woman. This is a brain scan. If you look at the far left, what you'll see is the brain scan in the first session when she came in. She had inflammation on the brain. That reddish orange area represents inflammation on the brain. There was a tremendous lack of brain coherence. Look at session number 2. She came back 3 weeks later after wearing a patch. No more inflammation and improved brain coherence. And after 6 weeks of wearing a patch, complete turnaround, a better brain coherence. And what I want you to understand is what you're looking at is scientific proof that this patch absolutely works. Now, this may represent the brain, but remember, you have stem cells throughout your body. So this could represent your heart. This could represent your blood, your bone structure, your hair, your nails, your skin. All of your body, again, has stem cells in it. So if this is what it does for the brain, imagine what it's doing for the rest of your body. Now, let's talk about the long-term results of the patch. Again, within the first few weeks, the first few days, a patch, 4,000 of your genes begin to reset. Now, that's significant because there's been studies done on the benefits of drinking red wine, and they say if you drink enough red wine, you can actually activate or reset 2 of your body's genes. So imagine that. Can you imagine how much red wine you'd have to drink to restore 4,000 genes? So again, some people will start to experience the benefits of the patch right away, but it's not always going to be something you feel. Sometimes it's working in the background. We all have a different black box, as you say, in terms of our bodies and how we treat ourselves and what happens. So everybody's results would be different. But within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. I just showed you scientific proof with the brain scan of the 77-year-old woman. That's important because many of us, again, as we age, we start to lose thought and memory. Sometimes we may walk into a bedroom and look for something and forget why we walked in there. I've had people come into a room with glasses on their forehead and ask, "Have you seen my glasses?" Again, that's are the effects of aging. So those things start to clear. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. That is very significant, particularly for those like myself who is an athlete, those of you who stand your feet a lot, those of you who just may put a lot of stress in your body, because your collagen is your joint. It's like your cushion. It is not just for the joints. It's also for all of your internal organs have collagen. Your whole body has collagen. So again, within 3 months, you start to see an increase in your collagen. Within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. And again, that is because we have 2 ages. We have what you call your physical age in terms of how long you've been on Earth. You could be 60 years old, but if you're taking care of your body, you exercise, you didn't stress yourself out with drugs and alcohol. And again, you could have the body of somebody in their 40s. When they go take your blood and they measure it, your vascular age could be 10 to 20 years younger. But you can also have the opposite, with somebody who in their 30s, because of over abusing their body and the rest of their life, they didn't take care of themselves, they didn't exercise, they look older. And we all know people that look older than they are. We know people that look younger than they are. But for every 6 months that you wear the patch, you will actually reverse your age, your heart reversing age by 8 years, and that's based on physical urine and blood tests, and you can test it yourself. It's not anti-aging, it's age reversed, and that is a comment by David Schmidt himself, the CEO and inventor. Now let's talk a little bit more about how to wear the patch. Give me a second, my screen is freezing a little bit. With technology, how to wear the patch. Again, you wear the patch for 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And for example, I put the patch on at 8 o'clock in the morning and I take it off at 8 o'clock at night. And then I throw away the patch because again, your body needs to repair and rejuvenate itself by getting rest. Again, you can put one patch at a time, but again, generally one is enough. And you repeat that daily. Now you can wear more than one patch at a time, but you generally need one. One of the most important things when you're wearing a patch is to drink plenty of the water. In fact, even if you weren't wearing a patch, you should drink more water and plenty of it. Not just plain water, but drink alkaline water or water that has minerals in it, infused with minerals. Because if you drink enough water, you'd have fewer problems because water represents flow, movement in the body, moves things around. But you don't have enough water moving around, guess what? everything gets stagnant. Now, some of you may say, you know what, I don't like water, but guess what? Your body loves water. So give the body what it needs and what it loves. Okay, drink plenty of water. Could you please remain on mute? Somebody in Motorola, please stay on mute as we're recording this session. Thank you. So that's how you wear the patch. Now, give me 1 second. I need to mute some people in the background. And if my co-hosts, if you see people that are unmuted, please.
I get it there.
All right, thank you. Yep, so now we're going to take a break from the slide presentation because we're going to give some testimonies, and we have 2 incredible testimonies, starting with our wonderful host who's launching a business today, as well as the gentleman who introduced her. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask Dara if she can come off and share her screen and unmute herself and share her testimony. Dara, the floor is yours.
I wanted to defer to Mr. Gibson, our guest, and just allow him to go first.
Okay. Mr. Gibson, you have been allowed to go first. So if you don't mind unmuting yourself and coming off camera, we'll start with you. Thank you.
Okay, Derek. As soon as the camera decides to wake up, it doesn't want to wake up and show this old sailor. All right, here we go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for coming on tonight to help Dara launch her campaign into the LifeWave company. She is a wonderful person who has a great deal of integrity. I've known her for a lot of years, and I am truly enamored by her. And I'm going to give you a couple of testimonies that happened with me. When this was introduced to me by my senior partner, Alan Parsons, I thought it was a joke. I didn't believe it. I said, nah, whatever. This is some kind of get rich quick, not going to happen scheme. But he convinced me to use the patch, and I did. For whatever reason, I used the patch, and I kept using the patch, and I kept using the patch. Well, after about 8 or 9 days, my brain fog went away. I had more vitality, more energy, and I was doing more things, and just getting around the house and just having a lot of fun because, as you can tell by all the gray hair, I've got a few years on me. As a matter of fact, the Lord blesses me, I'll see 75 this year. So in all the time that I was using the patch, and I started back in March of this year, we had a conversation, we had a Zoom meeting where one of the men talked about how the patch improved his allergies. His allergies were no longer giving him trouble. And so after the Zoom meeting was over, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Because in my eyes, I have a very unique allergy. Imagine a life where you can't eat fruits and vegetables, not raw fruits and vegetables. If it's cooked, change the molecular structure, no problem. But if it's raw, something as simple as a piece of lettuce on a hamburger would cause me to do basically the unthinkable. I'd have to go find me a place to relieve myself of that, whatever it was, and then more than that piece of vegetable will come out. It was very annoying. It was extremely annoying, and you had to be so careful. As a matter of fact, when we go out to eat, my wife would usually test the green beans or test the asparagus to see if it's cooked enough. And if it wasn't cooked enough, I just let it go. I didn't eat it. So, and I'd had myself tested in Orlando, Florida, and they did 57 scratch tests on my back to see what I was allergic to. They were going to try to do some things to help me get less sensitive to fruits and vegetables. Well, of the 57, I reacted to 55. Pretty amazing, huh? So they did give me some shots, and it did not help for very long. And I was right back where I was. So after this Zoom meeting that we had when we were talking about allergies, I said, I wonder, could it be that the patch is working on that? Because I felt the effects of the patch. I knew that it worked. I believed in the patch. I'd gone all in the patch. As a matter of fact, once I had another encounter, I became a manager in 10 days because I was just pushing it. So I went into the kitchen, and there was some cherries on the table. I said, and I was trying to convince myself to try it. And you've got to understand, when you have an aversion to something, and for 30, 40 years, you just tell yourself no, trying to override that process in your brain, it takes a bit of doing. Because I'm like, nah, that's okay. I said, no. But he says it's good. It's helping with your allergies. Yeah, but no. So after a few minutes of talking to myself, I finally took a cherry and I ate it. And I mean, I don't even remember ever eating a cherry before in my life. And I said, wow, I don't feel my allergic reaction because normally within 2 to 3 seconds it happens. And I didn't have it. I'm like, wow. So I took another cherry. Okay. I took a third and a fourth cherry. And I said, I'm going to stop at 4. I'm not going to push my luck. I'm just going to see what happens. Well, again, like I said, normally within seconds, I'm having to run to the restroom. 20 minutes went by, and I did feel my tongue itching, but I never threw up. I never had a problem. I didn't get sweaty. None of the things that I was used to happening when I took some fruit. And that can only be the past because that's the only thing that I've done differently. So that's one story. Here's another. My siblings and I were at my mom's house, and she'd been having quite a few issues with her health. She is 93 years old, and that's kind of to be expected. So we were there trying to figure out what we were going to do if someone was going to move in with her because she lives by herself. She runs her own house. And we were trying to just go through, and she was telling us that she doesn't know what's wrong, and the doctors can't tell her what's wrong. She says she's been to the doctor. She's told the doctor that she was having some problems, and she just really didn't understand what the problem was. And so she said, they say all my numbers are great. I don't have any problems. I should feel well. And what the doctors were basically doing was basically saying, probably not to her, but thinking it, lady, you're 93 years old. Live with it. You just got to live with it. So at any rate, so my brother and I, who's also a distributor for LifeWaves, said, oh, well, that sounds like something the patch might be able to help. Maybe. And so we were talking to ourselves about the patch, and our sisters were there, and they said, "What patch?" Because we hadn't shared it with them. So we shared the values of wearing the patch and the whole 9 yards and how it affected us. And they said, "Well, we want a patch." And so, of course, my brother and I gave them patches because at some point in time we want to introduce them to them anyway. And our mom said, "I want a patch." Well, she's 93. We all looked at each other like, now. They say it's non-transdermal. It doesn't go into the body. It shouldn't affect her. She's basically, according to the doctor's numbers, in good health. So we should be okay. But we weren't sure. We were really not sure. But we gave her a patch. So the next morning she put a patch on. Didn't think anything about it. We're going through the day. We're going through the day. The day's going well. And then all of a sudden, about 8 o'clock, my sister called. Mom's on the way to the hospital. She's having a lot of pain. My heart sank. This is your mom. You've put something on her that could be hurting her. You don't know about LifeWave enough. You don't know about the X39 enough to have done it. Why did you do that? All these questions came in my mind. All these scenarios went through my mind as I was thinking about, as I was rushing to the hospital. And we spent the night, my sister and I spent the night at the hospital. So while we were there, they did an ultrasound. Nothing showed up. The next morning, they did a CAT scan. That's when things showed up. And when they did the CAT scan, the doctor came in and said, well, ma'am, you've got this little, and he did a little drawing up on the wall to show what was going on around your gallbladder. And our mom did something remarkable. She said, oh, yeah. A doctor told me about that when I was 21 years old, said I need to have my gallbladder removed. And I said, no, I'm not going to have it removed. I'm going to take my chances. And then it showed back up. Well, once the doctor knew it was a gallbladder, they knew exactly what medication to give her, and she was able to leave the hospital and everything was fine. So my sister and I sat there and talked. What we believe that had happened is that the X39 elevated her body in such a way, in other words, her immune system in such a way that it caused her to have a lot of pain because there was a problem. There was an issue there that the doctors on the normal checking could not find. They found the problem. They alleviated the problem. They rectified the problem. She's at home. She's doing well. She is now walking better because, again, she had some osteoarthritis and she was kind of bent over. You know how it happens when you get a lot of years on you. She was straightening up. Her skin has gotten lighter. She is doing remarkably well for a 93-year-old. And then the other day she said, well, I think I might go find me a boyfriend. I said, oh, Lord, here we go. But those are just two of the many stories that I have, and I kid you not. Uh, in finding out about this particular apparatus and this system, I have been my journey is to show as many people as I possibly can. Not so much for the other part that you're going to hear about, but if you can help people alleviate the pain, and if you know if you talk to any people for any length of time, they will tell you about the pain that's going on in their body. It is well worth the journey. So again, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Dara, for allowing me to give my testimonies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, as you just mentioned, that was Mr. Emerson Gibson. He is, my friend's been more like a father to me. Actually, he and his wife are just wonderful. And when he came to me and presented this opportunity, I, like many of us, right? So we have a tendency to be programmed, if things are not mainstream, if, we've never heard of it before, we are naturally apprehensive. And so he told me about it. And even after I saw him, I saw his energy. He told me that he wasn't having pain, in his hand really. And then he was up fixing things and doing things in the house. And I said, to myself, not to him, it's the first time he's hearing this. I said, well, that could probably kind of be a placebo effect, because Mr. Gibson, he's always been a get up and go type of guy, regardless of how young he is. He's always, had energy. And I said, well, maybe he's just excited about it. And so he told me to try the patch, but, very candidly, I'm a relatively healthy girl, right? So, I have had some challenges, but nothing really that I have chronic pain that I have to deal with. And so I really wanted to do my due diligence and just kind of know what it is, as opposed to just trying to sell people stuff. I just really needed to know what it was. And so I admonished one of my, acquaintance of mine, and saw him walking, he always walks with a limp. And so I just asked him, could I ask him what was going on with them? And he said that he needed knee replacement surgery. He had bone on bone action going on. And he said that, he's always in pain. And so he does security. So before I get to there, I said, well, I have something that I want you to try, but I was hesitant to give him a full week's supply because he's not a guy that drinks a lot of water. And so, I just wanted to be safe. So I said, I'll give you 3 patches, use them over the weekend. Let me know on Monday how you feel. And so, I asked him on Monday and he said, well, I kind of forgot that I had the patch on Friday. He said, but on Sunday, he said, I got up, put a new patch on, and he does security at our church. So he's standing for multiple hours. This is, again, needs a knee replacement, always walking with the limp, bone on bone pain. But he stands, for multiple hours a day on Sunday. He said, normally I'm in pain on Sundays and I have to take 2 tramadol pills to withstand the duty. And if you don't know what tramadol is, it's a pain reliever that's right under the level of narcotic. So, if you think of oxycodone, tramadol is kind of like right underneath that, basically. You only have to take 2 of them to get through a Sunday. And he said, I didn't have any pain. Not only did I not have any pain, I didn't use any of those tramadol pills. And so I was like, that's amazing. And it varies for different people. But this is a gentleman that, just to paint the picture for you, he could stand lose a few pounds. He doesn't, very much watch what he eats. He doesn't drink a lot of water, as I mentioned. So I just say that to say it's not like a prime optimal health athlete type of person. He's a regular person, just like the majority of us. And that's how it worked for him. And so then I said, well, let me see, how it, and how I feel on it. Now, I don't wear mines all the time. I had mines on tonight. I like to wear it right there. But I don't wear mines all the time, primarily because I'm giving my stash away. I'm giving it to people because people need it. And I feel like, okay, well, let's share some of mine. But when I do not have it on, I definitely know that I don't have it on. When I wear it, I have more mental focus and clarity. My blood pressure is lower. Um, I've noted now, and also just to go back to where I said I had some challenges about a year or so ago. So I had surgery and it did not go well. And so I was on medication for longer than what I should have been. And so I just noticed that, my hair, normally, like I've never, had a problem with my hair. And my hair was thinning. I'm talking about if the wind blew, my strands was flying with it. And I was devastated. And so, you know, after I stopped taking the medicine and I'm still trying to live a healthier life and just taking a little bit more care of my hair, you know, it was coming along, but it really wasn't doing what I needed it to do. But since I've been wearing this patch for the last few months, and people have told me, you know, they say, your skin looks great. My hair is definitely stronger. And like I said, I just know the difference when I have it on versus when I don't. And so to me, when you think about your quality of life, why would we not? You know, it's specifically if you have ailments, if you're constantly under a doctor's supervision, if you're taking medication, you can only help that process so that you are here to enjoy this life that you worked so hard for. Um, and so that's really it. I don't want to keep going on because we want to stay the time and we appreciate your time. But you've heard the information and it is definitely something that's going to add value. Like you said, health is wealth. Like Derek said, health is wealth. And so not only are you not having to worry about your physical feelings, but you have an opportunity here to not only help yourself, but to help others. So I'll turn it back over to Derek and he's gonna kind of wrap this up for us and get you guys out of here. And once again, thank you. I want to say thank you to my teammates because I see a lot of people that were invited and not by me. And so I very much appreciate you all. And we are a team. And as Mr. Emerson said, you know, he's been a maniac building this team and we're out here to get to it. And we are out here to give health and wealth to our people. You know, a lot of opportunities are not afforded to us, or we get to just learn to live with our pain because we got to keep going or we're trying to get to something, but we deserve to live optimally as well. So, Derek.
All right. Thank you, Dara. Appreciate those testimonies for you and as well as Emerson. Let me go ahead and give me 1 second. I got to come back on camera, but you don't need to see me for a minute. So what I'm going to do is you have enough information now to make an informed decision as to whether you want to use the patches, whether you want to help the people that you love and care about. And it is important that you do so. But again, there is an opportunity as well. So again, our goal is to eradicate bad health and debt in our communities. That is first and foremost why you are here. And we simply do a few things. We actually use the patches ourselves. We share with people we love and care about, and they do the same. But the company is saying, hey, because you are helping with our growth and our success, we want to share that wealth with you. So once you have your health freedom, again, guess what? You can now have financial freedom because again, once you're healthy, you can do the things that you need to do. And if you have both your health freedom and your financial freedom, guess what? You now have what they call time freedom. And we're going to talk about that as well. So let me, again, we're going to wrap up in the next 8 to 10 minutes and then Dara's going to close out as well. But again, let me ask you to put on your business test. So for those of you who are interested in helping the people that you love and care about, you have all the information you need to make an informed decision as to whether you should be using these patches. And I guarantee you that you should. And that's our recommendation. So put in your business hat and let's talk about this company, why the company is doing so well. It's a 20-year-old company. They open in over 75 countries. And the reason that they're successful is because they're not a Me Too product. They're not like most companies that sell weight loss, skincare, supplements, and vitamins. Not that there's anything wrong with those types of products. It's just that there are hundreds of companies that offer those products and services. You can even get supplements and vitamins at your local gas station. Now, it's interesting that this product, this X39, was created in 2020. I want you to think about this. And if you remember what happened in 2020, think about it. That's when COVID hit. So you think this was Garley thing that David Schmidt discovered X39 in 2020? And look what happened. And again, they average $20 million a year for the first 17 years in business. Look what happened in 2021. They went from $20 million to $320 million in 2022 to $430 million in 2023 to 2000 and to over $600 million last year. And they're projected to be a $1 billion company this year. It all because of the X39. So again, that should tell you something. You can't go from $20 million to $600 million with something that does not work. Again, this just shows you the growth per businessforhome.org. We are the #1 momentum company in the world out of 6,000 companies. 2 years in a row. #1 out of 6,000 companies in the direct sales industry. That should tell you a lot about where the company is headed. These are that is David Schmidt on the far left. Standing to him is Gina Merritt, and her husband Steve on the right. And in a striped dress, that is the CEO of the company, president of the company. Her name is Ms. Burchick. She has success in a lot of the companies. They run the Bravo Award, which is given by the Direct Selling Network. And what you see behind them is a conference that we had 2 years ago. That is a team event, not a company event. We have the #1 team and the #1 company in the world. So you are at the right place at the right time with the right people and the right team. Again, so what is most important to you? Your family, your time, your freedom. I shared with you that video that actually was my vision board in the beginning, showing you my family, my faith, my fun, things that I like. So what's important to you? Your family, your time, your freedom, your security, travel, better health, but less debt. Again, our goal, we're on a mission to eradicate bad health and eliminate bad debt in our communities. And we have the fortunate to have the ability to do so with the opportunity that we present before you. Now, before I talk about how to get started, for those of you interested in improving your wealth, again, you could get the X39 patches. There's a 30-day supply for $149.95 retail, or you can get it for what we pay for. We pay $99.95. We get a discount because we are loyal to the company and we use the products on a regular basis. So if you want to get the price that we get it for, simply agree to be a what they call a preferred customer, which means you agree to just order 1 sleeve a month. And you need at least a sleeve a month because, again, the sleeve has 30 patches. And if you have a spouse, you need at least 2, and you get the discount. But in addition to that, the company's going to send you a sample of some of the other patches every 3 months just for being a loyal customer. Again, you can cancel anytime. But again, for those of you who might be interested in adding some income to your household, there's a way for you to do that by simply sharing the patches with others. And the way you do that is you give out the patches, you share them. And we have several ways that we get compensated. I'm just going to cover 2. And I want you to understand simply to put the compensation plan in simplest terms. If you use the patches like we all do, we buy the patches, we use the patches. We share the patches with people we love and care about. Some cases you may give them away. Sometimes you may sell them. And guess what? They're going to do the same. And every time that happens, volume is accumulating and that volume is being banked. So the first way to get compensated is in a binary structure. Binary simply means 2. Think about it as franchising. Let's say you are Burger King and you give people an opportunity to open up their own Burger King. You have 2 Burger Kings on the left, 2 Burger Kings on the right. Again, the difference between a Burger King and what we have is a Burger King, you have to spend anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 to go to Burger King, Burger King University. They tell you how many where to put the shake machine, where to put the fries, how long to cook the fries, how many pickles to put on the burger, and they have such a great system that teenagers can actually run a not only Burger King but most food franchises. Well, our company, the great thing is the company does all the behind the things for us. They send a product to the company. They answer their questions. They have a website. All the things that you need to run a business, they do for you. All you have to do is share the opportunity with others. And if you have 2 people on the left and 2 people on the right, you can get to what we call the first position in the company, which is called manager. And as you heard Emerson said, he did it in his first 30 days. And again, by doing so, the company allows you to get paid in a binary structure. And the benefit of a binary structure is that not only are you sharing the patches with others and giving out patches and sharing and enrolling other people to join, the people that join above you are doing the same thing. So when they enroll a new partner, guess what? They can only put them on their left or their right. So you're going to be benefiting from the work of others, and you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that could bank those volume, and you can get paid up to $25,000 a week in our binary structure. For the details of that, we covered in the training every week. We have websites, we have live events where we explain it to you. But just understand very simply, if you share with other people, the company's going to reward you by giving you a thank you for sharing it with other people. Now, the only thing that they do is they reward you, they incentivize you by sharing with others. What happens when you share with others? The company gives you what's called a matching bonus. I'm going to use myself as an example. Say you introduced me to this opportunity, you invited me on a call, I see the information, I say, listen, I not only want to use the patch because I see the physical benefit, which is my true wealth, I do want to make some additional income. And there's a lot of people who are hurting today because of what's happening in our economy and in the world. The price of the food is increasing faster than our salaries. Everything is going up except for our income. So if you introduce me to the opportunity, I'm in your first generation, and you are at least at that manager position or above, guess what? The company's going to give you a 25% match because that's going to incentivize you to help me. So if you introduce me to the opportunity, you're incentivized to help me because you're helping me, you're helping yourself. So if I earned $100 this week, guess what? You earn $25. But what if I earn $1,000 this week? You earn $250. But what if you didn't just share with me? What if you invited 5 guests or you enrolled 10 people and all of them had great weeks? Guess what? You're going to earn 25% match on what they do. But it doesn't stop there because obviously I know people that you don't know. So when I share with other people, they're on your second generation. They're on my first level, but they're on your second level. They're your second generation. You're going to get a 20% match. So anybody that earns $1,000 in your second level, you're going to earn a $200 match. You have another level, you get paid on your third generation. Now you get another 20%. So the bottom line is you're going to be getting paid even while you're sleeping because we are in 75 countries. You can get compensated on people in other countries who may be 10, 12 hours away. And again, the bottom line is you're getting paid while you're sleeping. I'd like to ask this question. If you knew that you were getting paid while you were sleeping, how many of you would take more naps? Probably all of you, right? But the bottom line is those are some of the ways we get compensated. You could simply fill out a form. You can either purchase again a product retail and pay $149.95, or you can get a bundle and pay what all of us pay. We pay $99.95 for a sleeve. Again, by doing so, again, you can get a bundle package, and the benefit of a bundle is you get a bigger discount. You can come in at the core package, which you get 3 sleeves, which is a 90-day supplies, which I recommend at the minimum. That's for somebody who said, "Listen, I want to experience the benefits of X39. Let me go ahead and come in as a core and get my 90-day supply for $295. You get a benefit. Or you can, if you're more serious and you want to start your business, you want to start a business, you can get an advance pack where you get 6 sleeves. You get another discount. You get it for $535. And you get 6 of those sleeves. Remember, you need at least one for yourself and one for your spouse or partner if you're working with at a minimum. And if you want to really build a business and you already know that you're serious and you see this something you want to do and build in a big way, you can get started with the premium pack. You get $2,000 worth of patches for $1,750. Not only that, you get in them for about $87.50 a sleeve. For any of the package, any of the bundle package, you get a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. And you should stay active. Active simply means you have an auto ship, which means you get 1 sleeve a month at a minimum. And by doing that, that keeps your points. They continue to bank. That means every time somebody that you share the patch with, and they buy a patch and they share the patches, they are creating volume. That volume is accumulating and you build up and you're banking that volume that will turn into commissions for you in the future. If you want to maximize the compensation plan, you need to have at least a 2 sleeve subscription. Again, and that again, you need at least one for yourself. And even if you're working by yourself, you need one for yourself and one to give out samples. And that allows you to maximize the compensation plan. Again, we cover these things in detail in our training. So again, for those of you who are interested, let that person know when you get back to them that, hey, are you interested in improving your health? If you are, order the patches at a preferred customer. If you're interested in earning some income as well, then you need to be a brand partner where you can get the benefit of the patches as well as get the benefit of the additional income by sharing with other people. Now, again, if you want more information, you can go to thisisitinfo.com. That is our general website. Don't do what I call a lazy Google search to go looking for Lifeway because we are the #1 company in the world out of 6,000 companies. If I was a marketing genius and I wanted to draw you to my company, let's say it wasn't Lifeway, well, it could be something else. I would post a link and I would indicate Lifeway in a URL, and you would click on it and you will be redirected to another site. So again, save yourself the time and effort. Go to the site that was designed for you to see this information at thisisitinfo.com. And for our training, go to thisisitteam.com. That is our training site. It is a world-class training site that you have access to. And for those of you who are interested, there's another call at 10 o'clock tonight for our West Coast visitors and guests. You can get that information from the person that invited you. You can also get it at thisisitteam.com. Now, before I turn it over to Dara to close out for our guests, I also want to invite one of our special guests on the call. His name is Dr. Anthony Stroman. He is a world-renowned presenter. He has a background 30 years plus in finance. He has a background in health and wellness. He's a hydration specialist. He's a painologist. We have so many titles for him. He's in demand around the country, around the world. You can find him on radio shows, TV shows, podcasts. Major churches constantly ask him to come and speak to them. So I'd ask Dr. Stroman if you can just share a few words before we give it back to Dara to close out as to why people should take advantage of this phenomenal opportunity.
Absolutely, Mr. Hawkins. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can.
Well, listen, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for the opportunity. You always do a fantastic job. I want to give a shout out to Dara and Emerson. Outstanding testimony. I love it. So let me just say a few words to all you wonderful people. You heard some fantastic information tonight. And what you're going to do is up to you. I believe you're going to do the right thing. All of you have an opportunity to be an impact player in the world, not just the United States, to become an impact player. This is the latest survey. People around the world are concerned about 2 major things: running out of health, and running out of money. Those are the concerns. I simply tell people all the time, it's OYH. You want to own your health and own your economy, okay? And what we want to do with this amazing company and all the beautiful people that represent LifeWave, we see the vision of having debt-free parties and health-free parties around the globe. So with that being said, you want to catch the wave with LifeWave. God bless you. Live long, live strong. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you, Dr. Stroman. And just going to remind people that we have several events coming up. And if you know anybody in any of these cities, please get back to the person and take advantage of it. These are live events in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Puerto Rico, Orlando, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, and West Palm Beach, Florida, starting on the 9th in Fort Lauderdale and ending on July 30th. And that is all leading up to the major event in Orlando, August 8th to the 10th. It's called the Next Level. You're going to have we got doctors there. We're going to have David Schmidt there. We're going to have all of the top leaders in the company sharing with you how they are helping people all around the world. You can still register at thisisitconvention.com to take advantage of it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen again, and I'm going to return control to Dara, who's going to close out. Thank you for allowing me to present this for you and to launch your business. Dara, you can go ahead and welcome, let your guests know. Thank you for being on, and close out the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said, I just value your time, and I appreciate you hosting us this evening and just really giving us the nuts and bolts of everything. Thank you, Dr. Stroman, for attending and inviting others. I know it was a lot of information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Any follow-up questions, feel free to, reach out to me. I put my contact information in the chat. If you do not have my personal number, you can call my work number or business number, rather, that's there. You can send an email. But just thank you for your time. Invest in yourself, your health, and then also your wealth. Once you start wearing this patch, it's coming to you. People are going, what are you doing? What is that? You look great. It's happened to me. It's going to happen to you. Don't let that money walk out the door. So that's why he gave you the information as far as how you can become a brand partner. Everyone is not interested in that, and we understand that. But if you stayed this long, you are a go-getter, and it's a no-brainer for you too. So reach out to me, follow up with me, and I just thank you for your time. And everyone have a great evening. Be safe. Good night.